Ladies and gentlemen, let me share something that changed my life many years ago. You've got to believe in the future, not just any future, but your future, because if the future doesn't look bright, the present will feel pointless. But if you can see a future worth fighting for, worth living for, then no mountain, no obstacle, no delay can stop you from climbing. You see, belief is more than a mindset. It's the fuel in your soul. When you believe in the future, you start planting the right seeds. You treat today differently because you know tomorrow is counting on you. That's the beginning of personal transformation. Now, some people say, well, I don't know what the future holds. And that's true. None of us do, but let me remind you of this. Just because the future is uncertain doesn't mean it's empty. Belief fills the future with purpose. Doubt empties it of meaning. You've got to choose which way to live. Let me give you the magic formula. Discipline plus vision plus belief equals a future worth living, and that starts with believing that you matter, that your actions count, that your voice has weight, that your contribution is not small, not wasted, not invisible. You don't need to have all the answers today. You just need to believe enough to keep showing up. You've got to believe that your effort is like a seed. It won't grow overnight, but it will grow if you stay the course. You can't afford to dig up the seed every time you doubt the harvest, and don't let the world talk you out of it. The world will try to sell you fear, laziness, shortcuts, but belief says, stick with the plan. Plant deeply, water daily, show up even when it's not easy. That's belief in action. Here's something else I learned. People without belief wait for the future to change them. People with belief prepare to change the future. Which one are you? Every successful person I've ever met had one thing in common. They believed in what they hadn't yet seen. They believed in a future that didn't exist yet. And that belief, more than talent, more than luck, more than money, is what made the difference. So believe in your gifts, believe in your growth, believe in your goals, and above all, believe in the future, because the future is waiting, not for someone lucky, not for someone perfect, but for someone prepared. The best way to predict the future is to create it, and the first step, believe it's possible to believe in the future, is to trust that what lies ahead has the potential to be better than what is behind. It's a mindset that empowers people to act with purpose, to endure hardship, and to stay hopeful in the face of uncertainty. Believing in the future is not about blind optimism or naive daydreaming. It's about having a grounded confidence that your actions today can shape what comes tomorrow. The future doesn't begin in the next year or the next decade. It begins now in the present. Every choice, every discipline, every attitude you carry is like a brick in the foundation of what you're building. When you believe in the future, you're willing to pay the price in the present. You're willing to sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term value. That's the mark of someone who understands the power of belief. Life has a strange way of testing belief. It doesn't always reward you instantly. Sometimes you give your best and nothing seems to happen. Sometimes you plant the seed and the ground stays quiet. But belief is what keeps you watering the seed. Belief is what keeps you showing up, even when the progress is invisible. The person who believes in the future knows that results don't always come on schedule, but they come to the one who stays faithful. One of the greatest gifts belief gives is direction. A person without belief in the future will wander, hesitate, second, guess, and stay stuck in what's comfortable. But a person with belief moves with purpose. They're willing to make decisions that look hard today because they see the harvest of tomorrow. They don't chase every distraction or fall into every trap because belief gives them clarity. People often wait for the world to get better before they believe. But that's not how change works. The future doesn't improve itself. It's improved by the people who step forward with belief. History is full of stories where one person's belief changed a family, a community, even a nation. That belief gave them resilience when things were falling apart. It gave them courage when others gave up. It gave them patience when time seemed against them. Belief turns ordinary people into builders, leaders, and visionaries. The truth is, believing in the future is also believing in yourself. It's saying, I may not have all the answers, but I have the capacity to learn, to grow, and to contribute. That kind of belief is not arrogance, it's responsibility. It means you take ownership of what's possible, you stop blaming the past, you stop making excuses for the present, you start building, however small, because you believe that your future deserves it. Without belief, it's easy to quit when it gets tough. It's easy to lower your standards, settle for less, or let fear steal your potential. But belief is a guard against despair. It keeps you going when the world says stop. It helps you see the lesson in the failure. It reminds you that today's pain might be tomorrow's progress in disguise. Belief in the future is also contagious. When one person believes, it gives others permission to believe too. It lifts the energy in a room, it changes the tone of a conversation, it inspires teams, families, and organizations. People are drawn to vision, they are motivated by certainty, and even when the road is unclear, belief gives people the strength to walk it anyway. The challenge is that belief isn't always easy to hold on to. Doubt is loud, fear is convincing, the past is heavy, but belief requires focus. It demands that you look forward instead of backward. It calls for you to feed your mind with hope, surround yourself with people who stretch you, and commit to values that don't shift with circumstances. Belief doesn't guarantee a smooth path, but it does guarantee movement. You may stumble, you may have setbacks, you may even fail. But if you believe in the future, you won't stay down, you'll learn, you'll adjust, you'll keep pressing on, because you know the future is not something that happens to you. It's something you help create. There's something powerful about waking up each day with belief in what's ahead. It gives your work meaning. It makes your sacrifice feel worthwhile. It gives you a reason to develop your skills, to protect your mindset, and to stay committed to your goals. Without that belief, even the best strategy falls apart. But with belief, even simple steps become significant. Time keeps moving, whether we prepare or not. But belief helps us make the most of the time we've been given. It helps us fight procrastination. It helps us avoid distraction. It helps us stay faithful to routines that serve us. That's why belief in the future is so valuable. It connects today's effort to tomorrow's reward. No one can predict exactly what the future will bring, but believing in it doesn't mean knowing every detail. It means trusting the process, trusting that the right seeds will produce the right harvest, even if the weather changes, trusting that effort compounds, trusting that character wins over time, trusting that progress, though slow, is always possible. What you believe about the future affects how you treat people, how you respond to challenge, how you handle your money, how you manage your time. Belief drives behavior, and behavior builds results. So to change the future, start with belief. Believe in your vision, believe in your values, believe that what you're doing today matters. In the end, belief is not a guarantee of success, but it's the best foundation for it. It's the inner agreement that the future is worth investing in, worth suffering for, worth chasing. You may not have control over everything, but you have control over your belief, and that makes all the difference. Hope gives you vision, belief gives you motion. It's one of the most powerful truths about progress, purpose, and personal growth. Hope is where the dream begins. It's the spark that lets you look beyond your current situation and imagine something better. It lifts your eyes, lifts your heart, and lifts your mind. Hope paints the picture of what could be. It creates a vision of success, of restoration, of impact, of a life well lived. Without hope, people stop looking ahead. They sink into survival mode, into routine, into resignation. Hope is the antidote to despair. It doesn't require everything to make sense, but it insists that there's something worth reaching for. Hope is like seeing the summit of a mountain from the valley. It doesn't transport you there instantly, but it tells you the mountain exists, the climb is possible, and the view is worth it. It gives you something to aim at. It's the emotional fuel that says, don't give up yet. But hope alone isn't enough. A person can live with beautiful dreams in their heart and never take one step toward them. That's where belief comes in. If hope gives you the vision, belief is what puts shoes on your feet and gets you walking. Belief says the dream isn't just beautiful, it's possible. Belief activates your will. It transforms your imagination into intention. It makes you get out of bed earlier, stay up later, push harder, think deeper. It doesn't just make you wish, it makes you move. There are many people who hope for a better life, a stronger future, a deeper purpose. They see it clearly, they want it sincerely, but they never act. Why? Because they lack belief. Without belief, hope becomes fantasy. But with belief, hope becomes a mission. Belief is what lets you face obstacles without quitting. It's what keeps your hands moving when your emotions tell you to stop. It's the quiet whisper that says, keep going. When everything around you says it's over, belief is motion. It takes the invisible dream and turns it into visible action. Hope gives you a reason. Belief gives you a response. One sees the light ahead. The other takes the first step into the darkness. Both are necessary. Hope without belief is powerless. Belief without hope is directionless. Together, they are unstoppable. When someone has a clear vision of what could be and the deep belief that they can play a role in achieving it, that person becomes a force of nature. They won't sit around waiting for change. They'll become the change. They won't just admire the dream. They'll chase it, build it, bleed for it. Hope is the language of the heart. It speaks in colors, symbols, and emotions. It gives birth to vision boards, goals, dreams, prayers. But belief is the language of the will. It speaks in decisions, disciplines, sacrifices, and actions. Hope draws the map. Belief walks the miles. Hope sets the target. Belief loads the bow and releases the arrow. You can't hit a target you don't see, but seeing the target isn't enough. You still have to take the shot. When life gets hard, hope reminds you what you're fighting for, but belief keeps you in the fight. When people mock you, doubt you, or ignore you, hope gives you grace. Belief gives you grit. Hope reminds you of why. Belief reminds you of how. Together, they keep your soul steady and your feet moving. Hope lets you endure, but belief lets you build. Hope makes the wait meaningful. Belief makes the wait productive. Many people confuse wishing with hoping. Wishing is passive. It wants results without effort. But hope is active. It prepares, it plans, it watches for opportunity. Still, all the preparation and vision are lifeless without belief, because belief is where you risk. Belief is where you say, I don't have it all figured out, but I trust this is the right direction. Belief dares to fail. Hope can keep you dreaming. Belief forces you to face reality and say, let's go anyway. Hope gives you the capacity to see beyond today's pain. Belief gives you the strength to act despite today's pain. Hope builds faith. Belief demands courage. Hope speaks to the mind and soul. Belief speaks to the habits and hands. When you combine a hope-filled vision with belief-fueled action, you begin to create momentum. And once momentum sets in, something changes. Things that felt impossible begin to move. Doors that were shut begin to open. Ideas become plans. Plans become routines. Routines become results. A person with only hope will feel good, but often stay stuck. A person with only belief may work hard but burn out without purpose. But someone who carries both hope and belief walks with fire in their spirit and discipline in their bones. That kind of person isn't stopped by failure. They're shaped by it. They're not paralyzed by the unknown. They're energized by it. They don't fear tomorrow. They prepare for it. The world often tries to separate vision and action. Dreamers are told they're unrealistic. Workers are told they lack imagination. But the truly great lives are lived by those who carry vision in one hand and action in the other, who see something greater and then set out to build it one brick, one habit, one decision at a time. That's the power of hope and belief working together. That's what turns ideas into legacies. Sometimes the vision will fade, you'll forget why you started, hope will dim, but belief will keep you moving. Other times belief will shake. The steps feel too heavy. That's when hope lifts you again and reminds you what you're chasing. The two will take turns leading you, but both are needed. Hope gives you vision. Belief gives you motion. Without the first, you wander. Without the second, you wait. But with both, you win.